The last big industry meeting of the year is taking place this week. Everything kicked off on Tuesday, and I think Wednesday's kind of a dark day, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and for whatever reason, they're running an additional press day on Monday. Tokyo Game Show is happening right now. Getting out ahead of everything is obviously PlayStation and Sony. We're going to be talking about them, and well, over the past couple of state of plays, they've really dug themselves into a deep hole, and they just needed to buck the trend. Maybe that's why they got out ahead of this, but I remember, I've been watching E3s and different press junkets for long enough to remember the PlayStation used to be the one to just kind of hang back when they knew what the hell was going on, okay? When they knew that they had some bangers in the wings, when they could really knock something out the park. This wasn't that press conference, but at the same time, it was no PS5 Pro reveal. It was no ahead of Summer Games Fest state of play. This one was pretty decent. It had something for everyone. It had your standard fare of remakes, indie titles, woke cringe, like Dragon Age Veilguard had, I think, probably the longest presentation, which is absolutely abysmal. You had your standard Benetton ad casting for your quote-unquote characters that you get to have with your cringe dialogue and just the JPEG-looking fire explosions from your generic-looking dragon. I was watching that, of all things, right? Because it's the first thing that popped up because YouTube's a nice, fair platform. But when I typed in Sony to just check the live coverage of the show, the first stream that pops up is IGN, and it's like it had 60,000 concurrent people watching their feed. So I thought, I'd just open up the chat and see the general tone and tenor, and yeah, everybody was dunking on Dragon Age when that prolonged gameplay was there, and it looks so basic, bitch. And the graphics are totally unimpressive, but I've talked enough about Dragon Age that we don't need to run it back this quickly, okay? There'll be more time and more opportunities to talk about that in the near future, but as you can see, whenever one of these events comes around, everybody is looking for one thing and one thing only. When it comes to Sony, it's like, when are you going to do, when's Bloodborne getting a remaster? When's Bloodborne coming to PC? When's Bloodborne 2 coming? Well, no news this time around, of course, and this meme image is going to continue to circulate every single time there's a state of play. But like I said, there was some good news. There was some surprising news as well, and yeah, Palworld. Palworld is coming to PS5. Like right now, you can go download it if you want, which is kind of interesting. And it's like, wow, that's a big move that you guys did right there. Because earlier this year, when it was the biggest game in the entire world, yeah, it was dominating Steam charts, and it also had a deal, and it was on Xbox Game Pass. Okay, it's kind of crazy to see that now it's officially over there on PlayStation. It was one of the first things to come out during the press conference as well. So it's like, wow, Sony's proud about this, and yeah, good for them, given the fact that Palworld just got kicked out of TGS proper. Just like, no reasons given. Was this pressure by Nintendo or playing defense for Palworld? Yeah, I would think so, in light of the lawsuits, the lawsuit that's going on right now, and Nintendo being the big man on campus right now, and it's in their backyard. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Even though Pocket Pair is a Tokyo-based development studio, ain't got no leverage on Nintendo. Let's keep it a buck. So that's interesting. Once we get more information on that, I might be coming back to that one. But that's just a port on PlayStation. It's going to mean, I don't know, maybe a few thousand additional players. Not a slight on the over 2 million people that were checking it out back in February. It was worth a mention because there were several remakes and remasters. That also includes Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, this was leaked a little bit early. It also said that, yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn was going to be getting a remaster alongside Days Gone, but no word on that one. But this is, like, it's decent, right? Doesn't seem that Guerrilla spent that much money on it. They just simply put it in the updated engine that they could just, go ahead and make it look pretty. And yeah, it's coming to PC and PS5. I think that's what the announcement was. And yeah, it's coming out on the same day as Dragon Age Veilguard, which I guess if you're hard up and you have some money burning in your pocket and you need to get rid of it on Halloween, this is probably a better deal. And yeah, this is why I'm not exactly that pressed by the announcement that they were wasting resources on a remake. That if you have the PS4 version, if you have the original version of Zero Dawn, you can upgrade to the new version for a tenner. That's not bad. That's really not bad. But given the quality of remake that we're apparently getting with this one, I'd imagine a lot of people are going to be doing the Mr. Burns meme. I'd actually be happier with the $10 in my pocket. I guess if you want some more realistic textures and rounder faces, there are worse things that you could spend $10 on. Or you could just hold on to it for Stellar Blade DLC? Stellar Blade Cross Nier Automata. Now, if you understood any of the design inspirations from Shift Up, you listen to any of those interviews, they were heavily inspired by the team over there at Nier Automata. So to see this crossover happen, it's a whole hell of a lot of sense. And to follow up on one of the biggest games of the year and tie it in with another game that was a smash hit from a couple years back, totally makes a lot of sense. And yeah, the reveal trailer, well, it was quite revealing of a lot of things, okay? Teaming together two of the most attractive female protagonists in video games recently. It's a smart move. It's a good move. And it's one that fans of both franchises have been very vocal about wanting to see. So talk about actually giving the players what they want this time around, which is kind of crazy. It kind of shows that maybe Sony, at least in some areas, are doing this weird thing of listening to the fans, listening to the actual gamers, as opposed to the journos, because you got stupid Eurogamer, Stellar Blade, and Asian women are a threat to society. This is misogyny, and Eve embodies the definition of unrealistic standards. Meanwhile, Dragon Age the Veilguard is Mass Effect 2 moment. Yeah, and here's our handsome dwarf. Yeah, exactly. And you could also see that in that gameplay demo where you could just get Disa from the Rings of Power to come over and swing an axe from you. That's going to be some fantastic stuff. What an absolute disaster. But of the two games that got the biggest response during this 40-minute long presentation, one was a remaster and the other one was a sequel, but we'll get to that in due time. But the remaster of Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. Now, those are games from from the PS1 era. I didn't play them, but I was aware of them, and yeah, they're beloved. They have their niche following, and given the fact that they've just kind of been bouncing between ownership hell for a long period of time, this is one of those franchises that if you want to test the water to see if a sequel, to see if a continuation would be worthwhile, this is absolutely perfect to do. And yeah, if it's going to come in, and it's coming relatively quickly, it's just also hilarious to see a company that just recently announced the PS5 Pro, a brand new mid-cycle console, continue to release products on a different set of hardware that came out in 2013. Very interesting that you have there. But you can also see, and I'm a little bit trepidatious when it comes to this, mostly because, who owns the Soul Reaver IP? Oh, it's Crystal Dynamics. Oh, and who's doing the port? Aspire. Where have we seen this team up happen before? All right, that was earlier this year with Tomb Raider. Oh, another early PlayStation franchise that got a remake of somewhat dubious quality. And Aspire also worked on another remake project in the Star Wars Battlefront collection. Remember that came out? Oh yeah, what a disaster that was. So this one, I don't know, man. It could be good because some of the work that Aspire did do on the Tomb Raider remaster project. I want to say remake all the time because Final Fantasy always on the brain whenever we're talking about video games, but still, okay. On the remaster project for the first 3 Tomb Raider games, they did a decent job, and then Crystal Dynamics had to come in and tried to poison the project with their trigger warning. Oh, we don't stand by any of these outdated game mechanics. And if you want a more up-to-date Lara Croft, you can check out that Netflix series or wait for Phoebe Waller-Bridge to come out with her live-action TV series. Amazon, that'll be fantastic. So for all the long-beleaguered fans of the Legacy of Kain franchise, this is probably good news. But we've seen early stills, right? And we've got a little bit of information here. So celebrate the 25th anniversary of Soul Reaver, which, yeah, December 10th is the date when the game first came out, so experience the epic conflict of Kain and Raziel in original form with the remastered graphics. Yes, for Soul Reaver 1 and 2, experience a legendary narrative. Centuries after your former master Kain betrays and executes you, you rise again and embark on a relentless quest for revenge. I'm not going to pretend to know what a lot of that stuff means because, like I said, never played the games. I've seen them out there. I've seen them referenced a lot, and the past little while when it comes to game critique, and yeah, they're held up as fairly successful games and ones that at least have some kind of reverence. And well, the remasters they look pretty decent. They definitely look a hell of a lot better than they did back on the old PlayStation 1 in the late 90s. But as you can see, oh, what was that? That was kind of quick. And yeah, well, some of the textures look a little bit better. There's something a little different going on here, because as you can see, you got the old, and then in comes the swipe of the new for a statue. Is that what you guys are really big concerned about? Now, I think that this could also be much ado about nothing. Okay. Oh, they made the statue ugly. You guys really concerned about that? This is supposed to be quite a satanic game, and you're worried about satanic statues having a different facial structure, kind of? Or the old model had thick thighs, and the new one is just, I don't know, more cylindrical. Looks like not even statues are not safe from the femininity hatred now. Man, maybe the proportions look a little bit off. Like, now I'm taking a closer look at it, and it's like obviously the waist is a little bit fuller, and the arms and shoulders, that ratio is a little bit off. But to say that it's a hatred of femininity, that's a level of blue-pilledness that I'm just not going to be down with. I kind of think that this more or less points to the low-quality effort behind Aspyr when it comes to doing these remasters. This could be one of those things where it's just gone over with by AI, because a lot of the up-resing that we've seen in the trailer, that just kind of looked like generic upscaling, where you know some of the cathedrals look a little bit better, some of the colors pop a little bit more, but in general, as long as the gameplay's intact and as long as it's priced right, it should be fine. I'm willing to chalk this up to just technological oversight, because while people are screeching about this, justified or not, you can make up your own mind on this. I'm hearing some interesting things when it comes to the sequel, the long-awaited sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, Ghosts of Yotei. This ended up closing the show, and it sounded and it looked pretty decent. Can't really tell on gameplay. It was a big cinematic trailer because that's what Sony does. But oh man, we seen earlier this year finally getting a PC port of Ghost of Tsushima and it being an outrageous success. Now's the perfect time to follow this stuff up. You parlay that success into your upcoming sequel, and one that's not going to have a long development time, because I'd imagine they've probably been working on this for a while, and now they announce something that they can see on the development side of things, is getting to the end of the tunnel, and it's like, yeah, okay, coming out in 2025. Don't know for sure 2025 when, but I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the near future. But yeah, there are certain segments that are out there that are wondering, oh, what happened? Where's Jin Kasai? We need him. We need to continue his story. And it's like, I understand that, but this is going to be a different take on things. But this is also one of those situations where, oh no, it's just a girl boss. Oh no, they turned Jin into a girl, and now it's gone all woke. It's actually not the case. Okay, and you gotta put that criticism aside. You gotta just take that light switch brain approximation of events and move it along, because this is a different period. Okay, this is 300 years past the story of Ghost of Tsushima. This is a different area that the developers want to discover, and they sound very passionate about this story. And yes, this is mostly speaking the same team. This is Sucker Punch that hasn't done any of that woke crap, hasn't signed up to any of the consultancy companies who had reverence for the source material back in 2019 when Tsushima came out, and have done nothing but champion the history and the setting. So they are definitely going to be getting the benefit of the doubt on this one, and in fact, it is sparking a lot of enthusiasm, something that hasn't really been associated with Sony in quite a while. Today we are so happy to announce Ghosts of Yotei, the latest game from Sucker Punch, and the introduction of our new hero, Atsu. When we set out to make a new Ghost game, we wanted to maintain the core pillars established in Ghost of Tsushima, playing as a wandering warrior in feudal Japan, offering freedom to explore at your own pace and highlighting the beauty of the world. Alright, we also wanted to continue to innovate, to create something fresh but familiar. We looked beyond Jin Sakai's story on the island of Tsushima and shifted our focus to the idea of the ghost instead. At Sucker Punch, we love origin stories, and we wanted to explore what it could mean to have a new hero wearing a ghost mask and uncovering a new legend. This led us to Ghost of Yotei, a new protagonist, a new story to unfold, and a new region of Japan to explore. While we aren't diving into story specifics yet today, we can reveal that Atsu's story takes place in 1603, more than 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. Our story is set in the land surrounding Mount Yotei, a towering peak in the heart of Izo, an area of Japan known as Hokkaido in present day. In 1603, the area was outside of the rule of Japan and filled with sprawling grasslands, snowy tundras, and unexpected dangers. It's a far cry from the organized samurai clans who lived in Tsushima, and it's the setting for an original story we can't wait to tell. They sound passionate about it, and they've showed some key art here, and obviously I want to take a look at some of it here because a lot of it's quite beautiful. Okay, it's looking good, and of course, it's pre-rendered stuff. It's a cinematic trailer after all, y'all. So yeah, they're showing a bunch of stuff, and quite frankly, looks pretty faithful. Looks pretty faithful to the world that they created back with Tsushima a few years back. And while I don't know much about this, the whole ghost mask, does it give you supernatural powers or anything like that? Can that go ahead and explain where you'd have a woman being able to stand toe-to-toe with the enemies that are out there in the 1600s? Like, is that something? But time will tell, because there's something else that we can look at that kind of does give me hope that this one's going to be good, because, well, you can do a lot of these comparisons that are out there. Okay, you got Atsu here, obviously, the way that she was portrayed in the trailer right there, and then you have the actress that she's based upon, and, well, it just, my old eyesight test right there. It's not exactly the whole Star Wars Outlaws situation where she looks like the actress put in a microwave. I would argue that, if you just gave Atsu a face cloth, she might actually be more attractive than the actress, but I don't care, man. As long as the game's good. That's all we really care about, and because Sucker Punch is Sucker Punch at the end of the day, and because the trailer didn't have any ideology over the top of it, you can put your concerns aside. Yeah. And like Vardark points out here, don't forget the developers of Ghost of Tsushima became ambassadors for the island because of the amazing job that they did. I have faith in them to deliver another massive W. Hope to see more soon. Yeah, exactly. People are actually looking forward to something coming out of Sony. What a tumultuous few months they have had. The implosion of Concord, the release of Astrobot, the announcement of the PS5 Pro, and now you have some goodwill off the back of this announcement. But hey, man, all of that stuff could change because Tokyo Game Show is going on this week, and there's plenty of opportunities to squander all of this in an instant. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.